Welcome to Shine Brighter Leadership. My name is Warren Cox. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how to set up when you're going out to canvas, when you're going out to knock, and a little bit about how to pick the proper customers as well in the proper homes so you're set yourself up for success in the future. So always remember, prior to going out and canvassing, prior to going out and knocking, that a successful day always starts the night before. You want to make sure that you have your clothes prepped, you have them laid out, you have them ready to go. You don't have to wake up and think about what you're going to wear. You also want to make sure that you have all of your devices charged. Make sure you have, if you're using an iPad or your phone to canvas with, or your canvassing apps, make sure that you have everything charged. The last thing you want is to be inside of a home and your iPad goes dead when you're trying to sign a deal or run credit, right? You want to make sure that you have everything properly charged, and that way there's no excuses when you're out there in turf. You can continue to keep going as well. Have your turf planned out ahead of time also. Make sure that you know where you're going into. One of the cool tricks I learned in solar was SIYA, S-I-Y-A, stay in your area. Most of these successful people that I've seen in solar are typically the ones that spend a lot of time in the same neighborhoods and the same area. They really get to know their customers, but they already know where they're going to knock. They don't have to wake up and think about where they're going to go or cruise around looking for the golden turf to try to find, right? Make sure you have everything planned out. You know where you're going to go knock. Make sure that you're never picking new turf on Saturdays, right? No new turf on Saturdays ever. Saturdays have always got to be your golden day. It will make or break you in this industry. So make sure that you're always knowing where you're going. You're always spending your Saturdays in the same area, and you're really building traction where you're at, right? Especially when you're new and you're starting to create that pipeline. You're starting to get people in your neighborhoods interested where you're working, and that chit chatter there, it starts to make your job easier. The more times you talk to a person, the more times you hit that door, the easier it is to speak to them as well, the more you know about them also. Always make sure that you're properly prepared. Make sure you pack a lunch. You know what you're going to eat. Not only are you going to eat a little bit healthier and keep yourself more energetic throughout the day, but you're going to have exact times. You're going to feel more refreshed. When you have a set planned out lunch, you can go eat your lunch quickly. You're not going around searching for what to eat. You're not going and eating gas station food or trying to decide on what you're going to order. When you have your lunch packed, you can go back to your vehicle, you can eat your lunch, and you can get right back to your business. There's always a lot of times too where we knock at in certain areas. There's nice spots to be able to sit. There might be a bench or something where you can kind of relax and take in your surroundings a little bit and get a nice breath of fresh air, get your motivation in as well, watch some Shine Brighter Leadership, whatever you have to do to get yourself mentally refreshed, but you're also getting yourself physically refreshed as well. You're starting to eat, get yourself some energy to be able to get back on doors and give people the best of yourself. Practice, practice, practice. Always make sure you're getting practice at home, with your friends, with your family, with your significant other, right? Make sure you're just getting tons of practice in. Practice on your way to turf. Do whatever you have to do so that you are getting those kind of glitches, those little bit of hesitations and those jitters out of your system before you're out getting in turf and before you're actually speaking with homeowners. Always prepare for the worst case scenario, especially when it comes to the weather. I've worked a lot in Florida, in the Sunshine State, but we get a lot of heavy, heavy rains in the midday. I've worked up in New Jersey. It gets super cold in the wintertime, lots of wind. South Carolina, same way. You'll get thunderstorms. You'll get bad weather. You want to make sure that you properly prepare always for the weather as well. You don't want the rain or the cold weather to steal your paychecks. Make sure that if it's going to be a really cold day, make sure you're properly planning ahead of time, and that if it's going to be a really cold day in the evening, you have a jacket, you have warm stuff in your car. If you know you might be facing some rain, keep a poncho in your car, keep a rain jacket, keep an extra pair of boots or rain boots, keep an extra pair of clothes. Make sure that you're not letting the weather steal your paychecks. It's really unfortunate for some people that think that a storm can really stop their efforts. A lot of times when it is bad weather, whether it's raining or snowing, you get a lot more interaction on the door. The customers seem to be a little more adamant about letting you in, right? They're a little nicer, a little more open to let you in, especially if it's a really cold day or if it's a really rainy day. Just starting in solar, I was probably 3 or 4 months in. One of the coolest customers, really one of the reasons I'm still in solar today. We had just gotten hit with a major snowstorm. I went and knocked and met this gentleman. He let me into his house and signed up solar with me as well. But the main reason he let me in was he told me that I looked like I was freezing, and whatever I was out pitching and trying to sell must be really important if I was out there knocking in, a foot and a half of snow. So a lot of times, whether it's raining really hard or it might be snowing or really cold, if you're properly dressed, you're properly prepared, and you're being safe about being out there in some weather conditions like that, make sure you're always safe. But if you're out there and you're adamant about what you're doing and you're knocking people's doors, a lot of times they will be more willing to let you in just out of the niceness of their heart to get you out of the rain or the cold weather. Always make sure that when you're canvassing, when you're knocking in turf, that you're dressed appropriately. Make sure that you're ironed, you're well groomed. If you have a beard, make sure it's clean cut. If you have a mullet, make sure it's trimmed up somewhat nicely and you wear a suit so you don't look homeless, right? But make sure you have your uniform on. Make sure you look properly presentable. Look good, feel good. You're going to get a lot more interactions with your customers. You're going to feel better about yourself when you're really out there showing people the best side of yourself and really presenting yourself in the proper form. When you're with your customers or speaking to your customers, whether it's on doors, in the home, whether it's a phone call, always make sure you're in peak state when you're speaking with your customers and you're presenting yourself to the customers, right? Make sure that you leave all of your problems at home. A really good thing for me was to turn off social media while you're out on doors, you're out during your workday. You might see something that will interact or affect you negatively in not such a great light, right? So you always want to have your peak state be in peak state. Keep all of your problems behind you. A lot of people can get music. They utilize music or scents or memories or phrases or chants to get themselves pumped up. Do whatever you have to do to get yourself kind of pumped up, keep yourself, your posture good, get yourself jacked a little bit, and be ready to really go out and shine brighter to the world. For some of you listening, you've never been in direct sales, you've never knocked doors, you've never canvassed. You want to make sure that you are parking in a courteous spot. It's something that I think is looked over, something that's not trained enough. You don't really know where to park, or you don't really think about where to park when you're new. So a few good things I like, a few good tips on when you're parking in your area is you can try to find a spot that has a long fence or a long gate that's kind of sheltered away from the road, right? You're not in anybody's way. Make sure you're never parking directly behind someone's driveway so you're not affecting them pulling in or out of their driveways. Another good tip is if you see a home that's for sale and you see there's nobody in the home anymore, right? You can park in front of their house normally. One of the best things I really like to do is you can offer someone money. I would go into a new neighborhood or even the neighborhoods I worked in a lot, and I would offer somebody $10, $20. I would go knock their door. I wouldn't pitch them at all. And I would just ask them, hey, Mr. or Mrs., whatever it might be, may I park here? I have a few houses, a few homeowners that I have to go speak with today. I'm surveying some of the homes and have a couple consultations, whatever you like to say, right? But is it okay if I park here? Here's $20. If you don't mind keeping an eye out for it, that'd be wonderful, right? If you do that several times throughout the week or almost every single day, that money tends to find its way back in your pocket too. People always like to ask, hey, what's going on? I like to wait after a couple times and then give them the solar pitch. Remember, whether you're parking, whether you're walking through turf, whether you're looping and you're driving around looking, oh, where's that roof? Is that a good roof? Oh, this gets good sunlight. Oh, there's a tree there. Always remember, no matter what you're doing when you're in area, that you're being watched. There's always eyes watching you, whether you know it or not. Make sure that, like we say, you're always presenting yourself in a great way. Be really aware of your surroundings. If you're cruising through and you're looking at someone's roof or their trees, they might take it as you're scoping out their place. So be very aware of what you're doing. Be very cautious of that, to not look shady, to not look creepy in people's area. Make sure you're not cruising through when the school buses are letting kids out. Things like that. Make sure that people are always, and homeowners in your neighborhood are always feeling really secure and really safe, kind of with you. You're in their turf, you're in their neighborhood. They don't really know you yet. You haven't maybe knocked their door yet, but make sure that they're kind of seeing you in a good light, that you look professional, and that you're aware of your surroundings and you know what you're doing, and you're not looking like a shady individual. Record everything with the tools you were given. The fortune is in the follow-up. Very crucial in this business to make sure that all that hard work that you're putting in is getting recorded. So later on, you can really take advantage of that and utilize some of that hard work and create business out of that in the future. Whether you're using a knocking app, there's a lot of awesome knocking apps out there. If your company provides them to you, most companies do provide you a knocking app. Kind of shows the homeowners' names. You can take notes. You can set dispositions on those homes. Make sure you're utilizing these things. Things like digital cards are really great as well. I know that the Shine Brighter leadership team, we all use digital cards with our websites, like review videos, things like that on it, but it's also trackable. So you can see, you get those rainy days, like we said, really no matter where you're at, you're going to get some rain, you're going to get rainy days or snowy days. You can kind of utilize those in down hours or in days where it's lightning, you can't really go out. You can utilize those things and catch up with those customers. If you have a lot of data and you've recorded all of your data, you can go back through and do a lot of follow-up to create more business and really do proper business with the business that you've signed as well. Choose your battles wisely. And what I mean by that is make sure that you're picking the proper homes. A lot of these homes, if they have tons of shading or they have really old roofs, if you're new in solar, some of these homes might take a little more time to get installed. It might take a little more due diligence, a little more work on your end to make sure that the house is properly situated for solar before they go solar. So make sure in your pitch that you have some good qualifying questions. One of those that you want to go through is definitely the credit question. You want to know what your credit requirements are for your customers, from your company. Make sure that you know what type of financing options are available. Make sure that you know what credit requirements that they need to meet to qualify for those programs. You want to ask those qualifying questions. I usually think it's best to ask those ahead of time. I have those in my door pitch. I think it's good to get those out of the way. The last thing you want to do is waste, sometimes 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half sometimes in these appointments and sit downs with a customer that might be unqualified. If you could have just asked that question ahead of time, you could have saved your time, you could have saved their time. And a lot of times people are just really upset if they fail credit. And if it's close, sometimes you still want to take that shot and you still show people, and people are interested in solar. You still want to show them what solar has to offer, but it's best to always be upfront, fully upfront with everything. And credit, I think, is one of those really valuable things to be upfront with right from the get-go, right on the door. Let it be known what the requirements are to be able to go solar, and you'll save yourself a ton of time and hassle in the future by sitting with the proper customers. Make sure when you're out that you're looking at the proper type of roofs as well. Make sure that you're looking at roofs, you're targeting the proper types of roofs. Depending on what company you work for, a lot of companies can't do tile, or they can't do certain type of clay tile or certain metal roofs, or older roofs. You want to make sure that you're looking at the roof age. You want to make sure that it's the proper type of roof so you can really maximize your efforts that you're putting out there. Make sure you're utilizing things like your compass. Most phones all have compasses on them, or an app that you can download for free and have a compass on there. Make sure that you're looking for the proper sun exposure, the right roofing planes. Make sure they're not blocked by big trees. Make sure you're getting enough sun exposure on those planes as well, that you're getting a good situation for that home or your homeowner. You're also, if you're setting yourself up for success in the home as well, if you're looking for homes with moderate or really good sunlight on the house, you're going to have a much better presentation normally as well for the homeowner. It's going to make a little more sense. A lot of times you can get them in a better deal for their home, a little better financing options if they're getting more exposure, more sunlight exposures. Make sure no matter where you work, no matter where you're selling solar, that whoever you're speaking with is the homeowner, right? A lot of times the renters are big-time buyers. They're going to want to know about solar. They're going to want to try to pitch their homeowner. In my experience on doors, most every time you catch a renter, they're very excited about solar. Homeowners are the only ones that can actually go solar, right? So I found in my experience, it's been usually a huge waste of time to try to track down who the homeowner is. The renter's trying to pitch them. They don't really know the ins and outs of solar. They don't necessarily pitch it in the right way or present it to the homeowner in the right way. So unless it's something where maybe it's a family member that is renting to another family member and that's the homeowner, or someone that's a really close friend, sometimes those situations might be okay to track it down. But from my opinion, usually renters are just a huge time restraint. It's going to take a lot of your time, a lot of your emotion, a lot of your efforts, and usually you're not going to get a lot of return. So spend your time with actual homeowners, right? Make sure you're pitching the right people that actually own the home, that you can actually get signatures from and get qualified for solar to get installed on their rooftop. Pitching the proper homes and the customers will save you tons of time, money, and emotion in the future. You really want to make sure that you're pitching the right homes so the business that you do sign is happier, a little more fluent, a little more seamless, especially when you're new. It'll be a little better timelines too for your finance and your commissions as well, to make sure that solar is truly the stable career and the career that you want it to be. That will really help you when you're starting off in this industry is looking for the proper signs of life when you're out in turf. A lot of times if homes are decorated for the seasons, the yards are well maintained, those are normally homeowners. You've got a better shot typically that's a homeowner. Always be aware of your surroundings. Look for these different landscaping things. Look, if people are just planting new trees and new plants in their yard, normally it's going to be somebody that's a homeowner. Renters usually aren't allowed to plant an oak tree or a big palm in their yard without a lot of permission to do it, right? So the chances are that if you're seeing new landscaping, you're seeing a lot of seasonal decorations, that it's going to be a homeowner in that house. If you want to get more doors open, to get yourself speaking to more qualified homeowners, make sure that you're pitching the homes that actually people are home in, right? Be very aware of your surroundings like we spoke of, and that even means take a look at how many cars are in the driveway. If there's 2 cars, usually that means there's people home, right? The decision maker spot is one of the cool things that I learned in this industry that was very valuable to me. For the decision maker spot, it's for the cars that park closest to the doorway. Normally it's the person that makes the decision in the household. It's the individual that tends to be on the more decisive side as well. Usually people are home if they're parked closer to the door. It's a much higher likelihood that you're going to be able to speak with someone in that house. If the garage doors are open, a lot of times people leave their garage doors open. They've been working in the garage or they're having friends over, right? Then you know that there's a high chance that people are home. Typically, people don't leave their garage doors open if they're not home. If you're knocking and you like to knock a little bit after dark when the sun goes down, keep your iPad bright. Make sure people see that you're there, that they feel safe. When you knock, stand further away from the door, right? But also you can see who's home. You see the lights that are on. You might catch yourself more meals too if you knock around dinner time, but you get to see what lights are on. If you hear music on, right, make sure that you're really taking everything in and you're utilizing all of your senses to know if people are home or not, that you're hitting the right doors and you're putting yourself in front of as many people on a day-to-day basis as you can. Here's some shine brighter tips to end you with. One of the most awesome things I learned in the solar industry is OTTN. No matter what you do in solar, this pretty much applies to you, even just about anything in life, but it means on to the next. Whether it's a sale, whether it's a credit fail, whether it's somebody that cussed you out, whether it's a huge yes with 10 referrals, or it's the biggest no with a bunch of curse words. Make sure that it's always on to the next. The best time to find another sale is directly after another sale. The best time to find your first sale is right after a credit fail. Make sure you're always going on to the next. You forget what happened last, no matter what it is, and you put your best face forward and make sure that you're shining brighter. Always remember your why and remind yourself frequently throughout the day. Take these 10 or 15 minute breaks every 2 hours or so. Knock it down into segments. Go get a little snack in your car. Like we said, pack a lunch. But go get a little bit refreshed, not just physically, but mentally. Go sit in some air conditioning, or if it's hot outside, go sit in a little, or cold outside, go sit in a little heat. Make sure that you're getting yourself physically refreshed, but you take in some mental refreshment as well, and you're reminding yourself of your why. Whether it's a person or a thing, the reason we do this will keep you strong. It'll keep you blasting through some of these really negative interactions we might have, or some of these tough days. And it'll also keep you striving for more, even on these amazing days. Our job can get really tough sometimes as door knockers, but no matter what, make sure that you're always being yourself. You're always having fun in this job. When you really look and take a step back and look at what we do, we get to go talk with people on a day-to-day basis, different people. We get to learn new things every day. We get to help grow not just ourselves, but other people in different aspects of life. It's an amazing career. It's an amazing opportunity. So be happy when you're out there. Be grateful. Be thankful for this sort of opportunity. And always remember why you're doing it, like we talked about before. Have yourself, be fun, and people will want to be around you. They'll want to speak to you, and make sure that you shine brighter. And when you're helping others shine brighter, they're going to want to be around you. They're going to want to spend time with you because you just make them feel good and you make them a better person. No matter what, always remember to be yourself and have fun. I remember maybe 2 years in, my daughters were just starting to learn that at a Halloween, you can go knock a door and you get candy, right? I remember just being a early father, still young in fatherhood, and my daughters were running up to every single door. You know, they're in their cute little costumes. One was a bumblebee, one was a kangaroo, but they're running up to every single door, whether the lights are on or they weren't. And if the lights weren't on and nobody answered, they weren't really that upset. They just ran right to the next door. And they got a lot of candy. If you look at Solar as a game of trick or treat or an awesome Halloween, where we get to go knock doors, we get to help people, we get to put a smile on their face, we get to present ourselves in an amazing way, and we get to get rewarded. And it's limitless at what we can get. It's a pretty amazing career. So sit back at it, look at it like Halloween, and go out there and trick or treat to the best of your ability. Make sure you're always giving the treats. You're not giving any tricks, but life will reward you in amazing ways. And you'll have limitless opportunity out there for yourself. It'll help you forget about that last experience and help you move on to that next amazing experience and that next amazing homeowner. And if we've ever been a child, you remember those doors where every now and then nobody really knocked because it might have been off the beaten path, or it might have been too hard to work, or the light might not have been on, but suddenly somebody does answer and they have a whole basket full of king-size candy bars. Make sure you treat every day that same way, and make sure that you're going out there whether the lights are on or not, that you're knocking that door. And I hope this helps you to go find some of those king-size candy bars.